All right, welcome to All Edition. And before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button. But today, we got a special guest. We've had some commits on, we've had some players on, and viewers, y'all have asked for the strength and conditioning coach, and we have him today. Joe Pedulla joining us today. Thanks so much, Joe.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to be on here and talk to you guys.
Yeah, if you could just tell the viewers maybe your journey to OU and kind of just how you got into strength and conditioning and then just your journey to Oklahoma here.
Right. Yeah, it's actually a pretty unique story. Um, always knew that I wanted to do something in sports. And when I was growing up, I thought I wanted to be a physical therapist. So in high school, I took my first elective course to be, um, I guess, an athletic trainer is what I wanted to go to originally. Got to college, and it really started with my development as a pitcher. And played ball at Gordon College. It's a really small Division III university in Massachusetts. And we didn't have any arms my freshman year. We had a guy that was academically ineligible, had another guy that had shoulder surgery. So they were like, "Hey, Joe, we're going to see if you can pitch." And I get up there and I'm throwing just puss balls. I'm throwing like 75, 77 miles an hour. And they said, "Well, we're going to roll with it." And ended up having a great college career. And really, my love for strength and conditioning came from my own development myself. I never really had a strength coach in college. We had no budget for it. I didn't have a pitching coach after my sophomore year. So, really went out and pretty much taught myself a lot of this stuff. And that's how I fell in love with it. And, if anybody out there is wondering, you can take yourself from nothing to something. And that's what I like doing for other people. So professionally, my first experience came from a physical therapy clinic in my hometown in New Jersey, and basically realized that I didn't want to be on the back end of injuries. I wanted to prevent them and be on the front end, and that just fits my personality overall. I'm a very forward-thinking person. I like to prepare people for things, and when I was in the physical therapy clinic, I was like, no offense to anybody, but I don't really feel like dealing with this person's, problems. They're going to keep coming back. You know what I mean? If their preparation is the same and it doesn't change, they're going to keep dealing with stuff. And, I love dealing with injured players right now. I love working with them and getting them back. But in the physical therapy clinic, it's not the same. And I just felt like I wanted to be on the front end. So that's what led me to strength and conditioning. And from there, had my first internship at TCU under the baseball strength coach. His name was Zach Dakin, and still a very pivotal person in my professional development right now. From there, internship in my hometown, ended up running that same gym when I graduated college. And I like to tell a funny story. My first week there, the guy that hired me quit. So I must have ticked him off in the first 3 days. So I ran that place for about 8 months, and then I was hired by the Kansas City Royals. I worked in their minor league system for 2 years, and I came from there to here. So in August, I think I was in Beloit, Wisconsin. We were on a road trip, and Zach, the guy I worked for at TCU, gave me a call, and he was like, "Hey, are you looking for any opportunities?" And I said, "Not actively, but what do you got?" And when Zach asks you that question, you listen, because he's always got something good up his sleeve. And he said, "OU softball is looking for a strength coach." And to be very candid, I did not know a thing about this program until I started interviewing. And I was like, "They're pretty good, right?" And he was like, "Good is an understatement. You're going to want to talk to these people." So I interviewed, and 5 days later I had the job, and it was just a very surreal moment. And that's pretty much more or less what's led me here today.
Yeah, Joe, you talked about surreal moment and getting to know. You've been there a few months now. What is that? Is it about the culture that you? Is there something you've noticed about the culture there at Oklahoma? Because I mean, Patty Gasso, again, just the goat of college softball. Is there anything that you could put your finger on and say, "Wow, that's unique there"? That what they have, what you have there at University of Oklahoma in softball.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm still taking notes every day. I came from programs that were not winning programs. I mean, my college program was a losing program. In the minor leagues, winning is not a priority. And here, winning is the only thing that matters. And if we are not winning and putting the best version of ourselves on the field and also helping each other develop into the people that we want to be long term, we're not doing our job. So the standard is exceptionally high. And I get along with people that are like that because I don't like to short sell other people. I like to bring out the best in others. And that's the biggest thing for me, is that the standard is just so excellent. You almost can't even pinpoint what exactly it is. We do a lot of things that other teams do, but we're also unique in a lot of different ways. I think that the players are extremely committed, and they trust in their staff. They trust in me. They show up every single day willing to work and put in 110% of what they have. And I've never once felt like we've produced something in the weight room or even on the field that I would not say that I was happy with. The quality of what we do is second to none. And, just going back to the trust that they have in us, it really goes to show on a daily basis. And I'm proud to be a part of a group like that, because previous teams I'm on, there's always questions. There's always people talking behind coaches' back. Hey, we don't agree with this and that, complaining. And, everybody complains to a certain extent, but when it comes down to what they need to do and what they know they need to do, they are selling out on it. And that's what I think is unique about them.
Yeah, that's great, Joe. Hey, how excited are you about the new facilities? I mean, I know it's not complete and everything, but got to be exciting even from the strength and conditioning, and I'm sure just a lot of good things on the horizon.
It's definitely exciting. I'm happy to be a part of something that is still growing. I mean, the program growth in the last 2 decades has been immense, but to think that we're still trending up is something to be really excited about. And like I said before, I'm still learning about OU softball, and it's incredible that we're still trending in that direction. And I think the players are really looking forward to it. The seniors are going to have a great opportunity to have something new in front of them and a great opportunity to seize this year. As far as strength and conditioning accessibility in there, I know we've got a small little turf field we can do some stuff on, but we'll be doing our workouts in Switzer moving forward, which I'm okay with. But maybe that's something down the road we innovate for. But I was walking through, and something else that I'll say too, being a part of baseball growing up and working in minor league baseball, large stadiums like that are, they're normal to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's very abnormal in the softball world. It's something that really hasn't been seen before. And, I guess maybe I'm underappreciating it because of what I'm accustomed to. So seeing their reaction to it really, showed me how great this is and the magnitude of what OU softball is doing to the sport in general.
Yeah, and what is the man? I don't know what happened there. Jeremy, I think, had an issue. So we'll move forward. So what about like the off season from now, Joe? Fall ball's over.
Right.
So now moving towards the season. Kind of give us, from that time period, what goes on there.
Well, what I'll say is, as far as strength and conditioning, the plan is only as good as what you've done before it. So we've built a very, very strong base in the last 3 months, solidifying what our standards are, solidifying our culture and what we're shooting for. And right now, as they're getting ready for finals, it really begs the question of how much you can do with them. Mm-hmm. Their bodies are under a lot of stress academically and physically. We went through a very difficult fall season that was very physically demanding. Mm-hmm. Which is expected, but I need to help them recuperate from that, number one, and make sure that they're going home healthy and returning healthy. but also having enough in the tank for their studies and what they've got going on in their lives right now. So the next 3 weeks, is really going to be centered around speed development. One of my goals as a strength coach is for us to lead America in stolen bases next year. I want us to lead the country in stolen bases. I want us to be on the hunt all the time, and we've got the players to do that. We have the athletes to accomplish that goal, and they know that that's a big goal of ours from a physical side. So we are really going to hammer down on the speed development side. We're going to kind of move away from the weight room a little bit. We're going to go from 3 lifts a week to 2, and we're going to do the minimum amount that we need to do in the weight room, and then just focus on the speed side. And then when they go home, that's a time where they're not on the field very often, so you can afford to do a little more in the weight room and really prepare them from a musculoskeletal standpoint in the weight room. That's the time to do it. So as a strength coach, as a practitioner, you have to always ask, what are they getting enough of on the field, and what are they not getting? So that's a constant, ever-changing scenario. When they're in the fall season, they're running a lot, they're swinging a lot. So our rotational volume, the things that we're doing with med balls and with cables, rotating as hard as we can and sprinting as hard as we can, the frequency and the amount of things that we're doing on the speed side in the fall is reduced. But when they're not running so much, we put an extra emphasis on that. So they know that going forward. The goal right now, I want everybody in the program to set, speed records for themselves by the time they go home. That's the goal. So are you better now than you were on day one? If we can say that about 3/4 of the team, 99% of strength coaches would say, yeah, that's pretty good. But I really want everybody to set a record with their miles per hour sprinting and all their splits. And that will make me very happy going into Christmas. That'll be the best gift that they could give me. So that's the goal right now. We're going to lay the foot on the gas with the speed work.
Nice. And I heard you use the word goals about 5 times there, Joe. Can you talk to us? And I know you guys chart things all the time. I heard you just even in your answer there talking about, speed records and numbers and, analytical things are so talked about in sports nowadays. Maybe talk to us about that kind of aspect of it, and also maybe the nutritional side. You mentioned the academic that really a lot of people don't talk about enough is stress from academics and how that can affect physical thing and physical performance. But talk to us a little bit about data analytics, maybe world and nutrition.
Right. Well, there's definitely a caveat to the numbers, and you mentioned a couple points there. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. What I'll say first and foremost, the reason we collect information and numbers is one, to show the efficacy of the program. Is it working for this individual? And two, how are they responding to everything that's going on? And what a lot of coaches don't understand, and I would really encourage everybody to think about this, especially field coaches and skill coaches, not just strength coaches. The mental wear and tear that is induced by academics, by practice, is sometimes even more severe than the physical. These athletes are so elite. They can do anything that I ask them to do well, and they do it very well, but are they prepared to do it from a fatigue standpoint? So we will do force plate jumps. I'll have them jump on force plates twice a week, and that gives me a myriad of information. It'll tell me how high they're jumping, how quickly they're producing their jump, how quickly their nervous system is firing, basically. How quickly are they producing that jump? Total force in newtons, that's their impulse pressing off the plates. So I track about 4 to 6 more metrics that I'll save you the explanation from, but all those things really tell me, what are they responding to in the program? Is anything getting worse? If things are getting worse, why are they getting worse? Is it a matter of the program? Are they dealing with something in their personal lives? And sometimes you got to tread lightly asking questions like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You don't want to be too invasive in their personal lives, but when you see trends over time, it really helps you treat those athletes better. couple other numbers we track. I'll track their 0 to 20 yards. So that's just one base to the next. How quickly are you covering that? And, coach is always asking me, hey, how does she run? What's her 0 to 20? And like, I've got that information ready to go. And I'm collecting, throw downs from catchers in our inner squads. Like, hey, this was her pop. Like, this is this girl's sprint time. Let's see if we can, take the bag right here. So it's like helping advise the coaches too on like what our players are capable of doing in very specific scenarios like that based off numbers. So 0 to 20, we'll do 0 to 10. We'll track 10 yards to 20 yards with a 10-yard build in. So they'll take the first 10 yards build speed and we'll track the last 10. So those are really the metrics that we're tracking right now. As far as nutrition goes, I am not too involved in that right now. So what I really like to do is refer to those that are more knowledgeable than me in that area. And we have some great nutritionists on staff that have looked at blood panels, that do body composition, things like that. And it's a very loose level of communication. They will let me know who they're dealing with and what the goals are. And if I can help support that in any way, I'm there to do that. But most of the time, we are letting them do their job. And especially, being a male in a female sport, you never want to get too personal with things like that sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I really just trust those individuals, and I think they're doing a fantastic job. So I collect what I collect, and that's pretty much that. But yeah, those numbers change all the time, and sometimes you don't really know what's causing that change, and it's a very interesting phenomenon.
Yeah, Joe, and that's exciting to hear about the stolen bases and that goal and just the speed. And my last question, I don't know if you can answer or not, but I know how competitive these athletes are in OU women's softball. Who's the fastest one on the team, man?
Riley Boone has some wheels. Riley Boone is one of the most explosive athletes that I've ever trained.
Wow.
I'm expecting a great year from her, especially on the base path. She's definitely one of our best sprinters. I use her as an example all the time. And whenever I call her out during our running session, she rolls her eyes and she knows that she's going to be used as an example because she's an elite runner. But definitely Riley Boone.
Nice.
Yeah, my last question, Joe, and again, thanks for joining us. They had the triathlon, right? I don't know the exact date of that, but talk to us maybe about that event.
Yeah, so the triathlon was very new to me. It's amazing how, when you go from pro ball where things like toughness and team building are not so popular. In the minor leagues, like I said before, there's not much of a team sense. Guys get sent up, guys get sent down. You're not with the same team all year, but here it's much different. There is a camaraderie factor to everything that we're doing. They are competing on a regular basis, and that triathlon was just one example of the dozens and dozens of times where we've competed this fall. They're competing in every single session. It's not just the triathlon, but it was fun for me to come up with something that would make everybody happy. I was very worried about, hey, is this going to cut it? Is this going to be hard enough? I hope it's not too easy. I don't want anybody to get sick over it. Things like that, like little worries. Just my first time running something like that. And of course, all the players are dreading it because it's like, it's not an enjoyable experience. It's not, we're all very honest about that, but it's about learning about yourself and what you're going to do when you have to do something difficult. And it was great to see some people step up and be leaders and fire each other up. And I felt like the team did come together on that day. And it was definitely a unique experience.
Awesome. Well, I know I learned a whole lot in these 20 minutes, Joe. And one thing I learned is the Sooners have a great one in Joe Pedulla. And viewers, you're going to enjoy this. Joe, we are super pumped that you were able to join us and give us a look into this, into what goes on in the strength and conditioning side, because it's not talked enough about, especially in other sports outside of football and other sports. So appreciate you taking the time, Joe.
Yeah, you got it. I appreciate the kind words. And thanks for having me on.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
Until next time, Boomer.
Yeah. Boomer.